as a bowler and stick with it. He is someone, three out of his 4 wickets he got with deliveries which were pitched up.
Yeah.
And that's his area that he's got to concentrate on and use his short delivery sparingly.
It did look like the short ball was doing most of the damage early on, Karthik, even though it looked like conditions of the ball might move around.
No, I don't think the conditions, there was anything to offer for any seam bowlers. I think they just decided that against this Pakistani lineup, the best way to go is short and surprise them, because there was good steepling bounce. There were so many times when they were trying to bowl the short ball, they ended up going for wide, so which was fine. I think they had decided that this is the way they're going to go, and Pakistan had no answer to it. That was the most surprising bit, where they did duck into a few and then tried to play a few shots and ended up getting out. Not to help that there were a few squeezes down the leg side, which never helps, and that's a sad day. And you know that the bowling team is on top when such things start happening on a regular basis. So yeah, Pakistan never had the answers, and I think that is the way most teams are going to go now, looking at this Pakistani batting lineup.
Okay, at this point, let's get Misbah ul Haq in. Misbah, this is as bad a start as Pakistan could have imagined. Give me your first thoughts after the end of this first innings.
Yeah, it's very, very disappointed for Pakistan, especially. I mean, nobody was just talking about Pakistan batting. Since the last 3-4 series, they were scoring a lot of runs. The first 4 was very consistent, and nobody had thought that it's going to happen with Pakistan like that, because it haven't happened for a long time with this team. They're consistently scoring 300 plus runs against all the teams, especially in South Africa. They scored very well, but today, I mean, it was like a sudden thing happened to Pakistan. They were all worried about their bowling, their fielding, but suddenly what happened that their positive thing, which was very good in the last 2-3 series, especially Imam ul Haq, Babar Azam, the way they scored previously, everybody was hoping that they're going to give Pakistan a respectable total. Anything around 300, so the bowling can just go there and put West Indies under pressure. But it just went other way around. West Indies certainly came with a plan. They bowled short, and I think Pakistan done by the bounce, because all the bowlers are tall. They exploited that from the pitch, and they got a little bit extra bounce. And Pakistan wasn't ready, clearly not ready for that. And I personally think whenever it's a start of this sort of big tournament, you need to go there, spend some time in the middle, try to just calm down the nerves in the dressing room, absorb some pressure, and then you will be able to execute your plan. Whether you are bowling, whether you are batting, especially it's necessary when you are batting, and especially if the conditions are a little bit overcast, a lot of butterflies, no matter what you are doing in the past. But first game of a mega event, World Cup, it's always like that, and Pakistan could not handle that. And like in first 10 overs, we were out of the game, and West Indies just pressed the pedal after that and finish it. I mean, 105 all out. They are at the top of the game, and that they got the perfect start they wanted for this World Cup.
Okay, no, I'm going to stick with you, Misbah, because you mentioned those first 10 overs, and I like how you naturally put out the focus was not really on Pakistan's batting. It was the bowling not defending big scores, perhaps the fielding. The batting you thought was one of the most solid aspects of Pakistan's one-day game of late. But in the first 10 overs, you've seen Pakistan get to 45 for 2. Then they lose 8 for 60. Somewhere in the middle, as a middle-order batsman, as a senior player, you identify that, okay, there could be a different game. We saw England having to rebuild yesterday. Where do you put the responsibility? Is it the middle order after they've seen a couple of wickets fall? Because a lot of these wickets, in spite of good bowling, were to some innocuous balls and innocuous shots. Tell me what you would have done in the middle order differently.
I wanted to just mention that you need to absorb a little bit of pressure. If you lose a couple of wickets early on, then actually what's happening in Pakistan team, Babar Azam is the glue in this Pakistan team, especially at the top in the first 3. Either Babar or Imam. If they both got out, then Pakistan is always in trouble, because they are the ones who just sat through the inning And once we lost Babar, I think that was, you could say, that wasn't a delivery, it got him out. That was, I think, a big blow for Pakistan. And later on, batsmen could not understand what to do, and they just kept on losing wickets. Any pair could have stayed there for, I think, 15 to 20 overs. Situation could have been different. But some days in batting, that could happen to any team. I mean, they were not ready for that for a longer time, because in previous 3 series, the top 4, one of them used to get 100 in every game. So if you expose later middle order, number 5, number 6, number 7, so early in the game, and opposition with some really quick spells, fiery spells, and a lot of extra bounce there in the pitch, and you were having no answers, because batsman wasn't used to just going in the middle so early, and it just happened in a flash of a second, and they could not just rebuild from there.
Okay, let's take that point from Misbah. He's saying, very wonderful point that he makes of just someone needs to absorb pressure. Misbah knows that better than most players, but did you sense a sort of panic that crept in? Was there a shock element to this innings?
Well, I think it should not have been a shock element. If you're a player coming up against the West Indies, knowing the physicality of these bowlers, you'd expect to face a fair amount of deliveries that would bounce high based on their height as bowlers. If you look at Andre Russell, Shane Thomas, and Sheldon Cottrell, you'll expect pace as well with that bounce. So you've got to prepare yourself mentally for this type of opposition. So it should not have been a surprise for Pakistan. That's one. And again, yes, Misbah-ul-Haq is right, because if you've lost wickets very early in a 50-over match with about 30 or 40 overs remaining, you've got to consolidate the innings. And you expected that from the middle order, albeit Sarfraz Ahmad got a soft dismissal down the leg side. But you wanted to see some resistance from this Pakistan side. You still have 8 matches to play in the World Cup, so it's not all lost. So gain something. If you can get 200, 220, you have a good bowling lineup. Give yourself a chance of winning your first match in this World Cup.
Yeah, at some point you want to reassess. You've lost a few wickets, that can happen. But like Ms. Bas saying, that there was never any arresting that momentum. I know they picked their most experienced fast bowlers hoping they'd work, but could they have picked a more experienced batter? They left Shoaib Malik out. I get that he's been left out on form, but does this middle order now look very soft if the top 3 don't work?
No, it has been looking a bit soft for a while now, in spite of the older guys being there. I'm just trying to figure out or look at the dismissals. Was it like a panic, or I just felt that they had no answers to the way West Indies bowled? Did they play some bad shots? Possibly. In the end, you can think of Mohammad Hafiz, who got out when there was nothing left. The likes of Imad Wasim, possibly, yes. But at the end of the day, as Misbah said, right from the get-go, if you lose a couple of wickets, you want somebody there. I thought Babar Azam, for all the glue that he is, he suddenly became a sandpaper. He was just threw his bat at something which was not required, which is very unlike Babar Azam, when the thing was for him to be there. In fact, even the first ball from Shane Thomas, I remember, he played an expansive shot backing away, even without looking at him. So I don't think they had a game plan when West Indies hit them with those short deliveries. And I think that's where the problem arises. Yeah, you definitely need somebody to soak in the pressure, soak in a lot of pressure. Because look, 20 overs, they've got to 103. And if their batsmen had batted with some sense of calm and serenity surrounding them, I think they could have easily gotten to whatever they wanted. So, yeah, definitely a case in point for all of them to ponder.
All right, let's go to Trent Bridge now. Melinda Farrell has been listening very patiently to the astute analysis of Darren Ganga, Misbah-ul-Haq and Murli Karthik. I don't know what's the word in the murmur in the press box. There was anyway some maybe some anxiety amongst the Pakistani journalists about what Pakistan will show up. I don't know if they expected this. And the crowd, you could see, was shell-shocked, Mel. Take me what you saw.
Well, I actually have the best seat in the press box, and during that Andre Russell spell, I was directly behind his arm watching that. And Well, for me, what was interesting is that, everyone's been talking about Andre Russell and his batting. Who hits the biggest sixes, him or Chris Gayle? But in just 3 overs, he's shown just what he can contribute with the ball in his hand. Those 3 overs, he came in quite early, was introduced, I think, around the 5th over. 18 balls he bowled, and this is someone who's only played in 2 ODIs since the last World Cup in 2015 and bowled, I think, 9.5 overs in 50-over cricket in that time. There wasn't a ball wasted, it seemed. There were 15 short balls, 2 good length and 1 Yorker. And it was the timing of him. After he worked Fakhar Zaman over with the short balls and got his wicket, Haris Sohail came to the crease and it was immediately welcomed with a savage bouncer that he had to duck under. And then when he got him out with a short ball, Sarfraz Ahmed came to the crease. And what did he get first up? A searing Yorker that was right on the money that he had to dig out. So that, for me, was what was really impressive from Andre Russell, to come in the way he has, have the immediate impact and just not waste a ball. And I think that really ruffled up, particularly that short ball session, that really ruffled up the Pakistan batsmen and perhaps was playing with their minds a little bit. Not bad when you haven't played ODIs for quite some time.
All right, Mel, thanks very much. I think you're looking forward to an early finish this evening in Nottingham.
I'm feeling very, very confident of an early finish. I can tell you, I was sitting there in the press box and suddenly looked up and there were 7 wickets down and I had to absolutely leg it over here, and I didn't think I was going to get it here in time to talk to you. So Wahab Riaz may have had a bit of a go there, but yeah, just a feeling of shell shock. And maybe it's worth pointing out too that West Indies only just managed to scrape into this World Cup and qualify. Yeah. If you might remember that game against Scotland. Could have easily been Scotland playing here against Pakistan. So interesting to think of that possibility.
Yep. We keep reminding everyone of it. This could very well have been different had the rain gone either way in Harare and made Scotland pip the West Indies for a spot at this World Cup. More from Melinda Farrell from Nottingham as this game goes on. It won't go on for very long if Chris Gayle has his way, but we will be back with Darren Ganga and Murli Karthik and Misbah-ul Haq to look ahead to the second innings and see if Pakistan can still somehow make an extraordinary game out of it.
I think my best 12 could be Sachin Tendulkar opening with Chris Gayle. Not necessarily in batting order, but Ricky Ponting, Viv Richards, Brian Lara, A.B. de Villiers, Gilchrist, who we can use to open the batting and be the wicket keeper. And then the headache starts even a little worse for me now because you have people like, I'll have Shane Warne in it, Wasim Akram for variation, Curtly Ambrose and Glenn McGrath as the 11, and then Muller to run in the 12, and that would be my 12 because of various reasons. I want the 2 spinners in the squad because if the wicket is good enough.
Welcome back to ESPN Cricket for Matchday UK 2019. What an impression the West Indians have made in their first outing of this World Cup. Still in conversation with Darren Ganga, Murli Karthik, and we'll get Misbah's thoughts as well in just a bit. Now, let's just quickly finish off on the point that Mel was making on Russell. The use of Russell, even though for a small period, was promising. He seemed quicker than I've seen in recent times.
We spoke before about the leadership, and I think we must give credit to Jason Holder. He opened the bowling with the intention of trying to extract swing. Usually with the new ball, we've seen in the past that he's able to extract away swing from the right-handers. In his 2 overs, he went for plenty, 20 runs. And immediately he brought Andre Russell into the attack. Many were surprised that Jason Holder even opened the bowling alongside Cottrell. But I think that is what sort of created the impact. I always speak about the tone of an innings. When you start an innings, I think Andre Russell shifted that momentum in the West Indies' favour. His 2 wickets, very crucial for the likes of O'Shane Thomas and the others to come. But I think he's understanding the cadre of bowlers he has in his team. You have 3 impact bowlers in that of O'Shane, in that of Cottrell, and in that of Andre Russell. And he's got to use them wisely alongside himself and Carlos Brathwaite. Well, very different more containing type bowlers.
Now, we knew coming into this World Cup that it's Pakistan's bowling that they needed to fix in order to make a real fight of it. And that's something Misbah-ul Haq's pointed on. We saw the issues, the bowling. We're looking at their bowling averages since the Champions Trophy 2017. You do not have the best of numbers for the likes of Mohammad Amir, who's been brought back on hope more than anything. Wahab Riaz hasn't even played much cricket in this period. So this isn't the ideal scenario for you. But can you still get something out of this, Karthik? It's only 100 odd to defend, but even if you can get the West Indies 4 or 5 down, if Mohammad Amir can look something good, at least that sets things well for the rest of the tournament.
I think that is exactly what the coach would have said, because you're not going to try and eke out a win here by trying to do something different. You just have to go and try and be very positive, ultra positive, look for wickets. If the game finishes in 10 overs, so be it. But at the end of the day, you just give yourself a chance to try and pick wickets. And I think bowl with that kind of an intent, bowl with those kind of feels, at the end of the day, it's just saying that you need to get wickets and trying to look for wickets. And I think that's where the team has to extract something. You never know. With 300 plus scores, they were not able to defend, or they didn't look as good. With 93, you possibly might see just some sort of a spell, just like what we saw with Wahab Riaz against Shane Watson in World Cup 015. Something like that. Just try and price out, just set or send a message to the opposition that, look, we are trying to win a game here.
I'd love to see West Indies put a message as well. 100
I think we also need to see Sarfaraz Ahmad, use his think tank and the amount of information he has. A guy like Mohammad Hafiz bowling to Chris Gayle is not a bad option early on from round the wickets. So he's got to still be strategically smart and try to take wickets.
All right, let's see if this can be at least something that Pakistan can look forward to if they are to at least make this chase somewhat difficult. No one's going for extraordinary upset, Pakistan, to defend this?
Foregone
of course
conclusion.
not.
Was it
Foregone
Brad Hodge
conclusion.
and Dan Vittori, isn't it?
No. Karthik reminding us that it was some of our experts who decided that Pakistan might cause the upset today. It may not happen today. It looks like the West Indies are in supreme control. We'll be back with more at the end of this game on ESPN Cricket for Matchday UK 2019. So do join us then with Darren Ganga, Murli Karthik and Misbah-ul Haq.